Hi, my name's Al Harrison. I'm a patent attorney, intellectual property lawyer from Houston. I practice in a small firm environment, the Harrison Law Office. Practice with my wife, who is the boss, who is a specialist in family law and criminal defense. And I love technology. In fact, technology is my middle name. My nickname is Virtual. And a lot of my colleagues wonder if I'm actually here or not, and I'm probably virtual more than not. But technology can be your best friend. It can be a royal nuisance. So you always have to have a fallback position and cover your bases and have good backups. There's so many things to enjoy about technology. One thing in particular, which I think is very interesting, is how the internet makes everything available to you. Back in probably the late the 1980s, feels like the 1880s, but in the 1980s, maybe the early 1990s, I actually was the first director of an internet seminar for the State Bar, believe it or not. And back in the early days, my philosophy was the information is available. You don't have to worry about what time the library closes or anything. If you're with a big firm, of course, it probably was 24/7, but if you're a smaller firm, well, you had to worry about accessibility to information and resources. But back then, the internet was pretty clean, and you didn't have to worry about the integrity and legitimacy of data and information. Of course, nowadays it's totally different. But so all things are available, but you do need to be responsible to corroborate the information. YouTube is a great way to get video for to really help understand concepts. If you're in my case, being a patent attorney, if I want to see how machinery works or something works, well, I can just see the animation or the video of how something works. So it's a tremendous amount of things in all different practice areas, maybe reconstructing accident scenes and that kind of thing. One other consideration that's getting to be very important is to secure and keep client confidential data private and sustain the confidentiality. How do you accomplish that? Well, probably the best way is by way of encryption. Because even if you should have an inadvertent disclosure, if somehow your notebook or your tablet or your smartphone should get stolen, or you should inadvertently lose it, kind of thing, why, if the data is encrypted, it's not really a disclosure for statutory purposes. So that, because it's just not humanly intelligible. Of course, I know what you all are thinking. Some of your friends, probably just their writing style or their speaking style is not humanly intelligible, unlike mine at this particular time. But nevertheless, most people, why, you do need some kind of encryption to obscure the human meaning of that word. So one example would be TrueCrypt, which is an open source application. Open source means that it's freely available, and it is developed by a whole conglomeration of developers. And those of you who are sensitive about overhead, for example, instead of having to purchase or license Microsoft Word Office, you can go ahead and use what's called LibreOffice, L-I-B-R-E Office, which is open source, and it's probably about 90% equivalent to Microsoft Word, and in fact, Word and spreadsheet, Excel, and so on, and it's got all the functionality there. So open source is another opportunity to take advantage of technology. You can't beat the price. It's zero. And actually, ironically, the technical support is probably superior to your typical vendors because there are databases online, and there's just an enormous amount of information, as well as YouTube apps that'll tell you how to use the application. So that's sort of technology, my look at technology. And hopefully y'all have gotten some insight into how you can enhance your law practice and make it more efficient and more effective.